Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
For the identity of the real Marty Levinson, please stay tuned for the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host of all hosts, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Hi, Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. You can watch all our shows on YouTube. Last year, 70,000 plus people watched shows. We're getting closer to the 200,000 mark overall, and every year it just increases about double, which is really great since we started. It is mayoral election time, aldermanic election time, and that's pretty much 100% of what we're concentrating on. And we are privileged to have one of the leading mayoral candidates here, somebody who has distinguished himself as the city clerk and was a terrific state senator who won awards and commendations from a number of various agencies, sometimes, with all different sorts of life. Really appreciated the job he did. We're talking about Miguel Del Valle. How are you?
Great to be here.
First of all, my pleasure. And so you had a safe job as city clerk, and you decided you're going to run for mayor.
Yes, I, along with many in the city, did not anticipate that Mayor Daley would make the announcement he made. Even though I had already decided that I would not run for re-election to city clerk and had informed the mayor that I would not run for re-election because I've completed my job in the city clerk's office. I set out to modernize the office. We brought in an electronic document management system for the city council division. We brought in new technology for the other components of the office. And I reached the point where I said, I'm done. I'm done with the job. I'm going to move on and look for a new challenge. Little did I know at the time that the new challenge would be running for mayor of the city of Chicago, which is something that I had contemplated before. But I felt that Mayor Daley, generally speaking, has done a good job, and I didn't see myself running against the mayor. But once the mayor made the announcement, I made a decision within about 24 hours after consulting with the family that I would run for the office.
Very good. I just want to, first of all, thank Jesse, who brought you here. I hope I've got the name right. And I want to thank
correct.
your daughter also, who's been very helpful in arranging for you to be here today.
Well, she's been communicating with you through Facebook.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know where she's at. She's here now on break from school, but she's attending Stanford Law School. So she's been communicating with you from California.
I love Facebook. It really bridges things. It's terrific.
It is. It's a tremendous opportunity for social networking.
For sure, and you should look up, I have to remember to say Miguel and not Miguel.
That's correct.
Del Valle. By the way, I was schooled in this earlier today.
Okay, very good.
And, look him up. And by the way, you can always friend me, Avi Myers. Feel free. So what would you like to accomplish? I mean, there's a tremendous amount of challenges there to be mayor. There's no shortage of exciting things that need to be done.
No shortage of things. And let me state that the main reason I decided to run for the office of mayor is to deal with education in the city of Chicago. As a state senator, I sponsored a lot of legislation and worked on a lot of reform measures, and there have been improvements in our school system. We have to give credit to Mayor Daley for doing a lot to improve our schools, but the mayor will be the first to admit that we have a ways to go. In Chicago, we're kind of developing two parallel systems. One system with charter schools, selective enrollment schools, magnet schools, and other alternatives. And the other system are the neighborhood schools. The neighborhood schools that in some neighborhoods are underperforming. My focus is going to be on those neighborhood schools and making those neighborhood schools good, solid performing schools so that parents don't have to make that difficult decision when their child is of preschool age and they look to see where they're going to place their child and end up looking all over the city. And sometimes as the child gets older, they end up searching for magnet schools and charter schools, and sometimes with two children, one being in one school and another one being at another school, and the mom having to drive all over the place trying to get kids to school, or the dad driving all over the place because they cannot and feel that the quality of education at the school that is down the street from where they live is not what it should be, and therefore they don't want to send their kids there. That's what has to change. Our neighborhood schools have to improve. And we do have lots of examples of good, solid neighborhood schools that are doing quite well. But we have some neighborhoods in the city of Chicago where the schools are just not improving quickly enough. And while our test scores have gone up and we're doing much better than we were before, as I indicated earlier, we have a long ways to go, and that's going to be our focus. And it's not just about our grammar schools and our high schools. I also want to see some improvements in our community colleges. We have to focus in on developing the kinds of career and technical education training programs in our community colleges that are going to prepare people for the jobs of today and the jobs of tomorrow. We have manufacturers in the city of Chicago, for example, who have difficulty finding a skilled labor force, the kinds of skills that they need in order to be able to grow within the city. And so there is a disconnect between the training and the colleges and the needs of small businesses, particularly local manufacturers. And so those kinds of issues are the kinds of issues I want to address in the city of Chicago. And of course, there are many, many other issues. Heaven knows that things are rough. We need to deal with a budget that has a $600 million deficit, maybe even more. And we're talking about fiscal year 2012, the first year of the next mayor's term. So we're going to have to make some tough decisions. Some sacrifices will have to be made. We have to cut, and we have to find ways of making city government more efficient. We're going to have to consolidate. We're going to have to look to see how we cut some of that middle management level where we have maybe still too many deputies, and then use the resources to provide frontline services to the residents of the city of Chicago, because we still have to make sure our garbage gets collected. We still have to make sure that our streets are clean, and we're going to have to make sure that basic city services are delivered in an efficient manner. But while we're doing that, we're going to have to cut in a number of areas, and we're going to have to make some changes that maybe the aldermen won't be happy with, like going to a grid system for collecting garbage. That in itself might save us up to $25 million. We're going to have to use some of that surplus money in the TIF funds in the districts. That will definitely have to happen. And so there's a combination of a whole bunch of things that need to be done in order for us to be able to balance the budget and put a budget together that will buy us some additional time as the economy continues to improve. This is a recession that we're recovering from that started in 2007. And during that period, the city has lost over $1 billion in revenue that we used to have. And we're talking about sales tax revenue and other kinds of revenue. And so as we recover, and it is a slow recovery, and the unemployment rate goes down, and we begin to see people buy houses again because they're working, and we see other kinds of activities. This Christmas season, for example, sales have gone up. And so there will be more revenue as a result of the sales season during the holiday season. So, but that is going to take time. And so I know that fiscal year 2013 should be a better year than fiscal year 2012. In the meantime, we've got to make the tough decisions. We've got to all feel the pain. It's shared sacrifice time, and we're going to do it.
There's no question it's going to be painful, and that's an honest way it's going to be. And I think it's important that people have to realize that. I like the way you presented that. Let me ask you, I'm asking everybody about what's going on with the police these days, too. The CAPS, now I understand shared cuts. The CAPS program was cut down. I don't know how familiar you are with it, not to mention they're talking about reallocating resources of the police to certain areas where there's more crime. Do you have any particular stance or feelings about that?
Well, first of all, I think that we shouldn't take police officers out of a community area because there's a lower crime rate in that area. What we need to do is we need to look at the overall structure of the police department. And we need to see how it is that we can best deploy the personnel that's there, but do so in a way that we don't reduce services in any particular community. Can we transfer more police officers from desk jobs to patrolmen's jobs so that they're out on the street? There are lots of things that need to be looked at. In terms of CAPS, I believe in community policing. I've always believed in community policing, but community policing means community policing. It doesn't mean just a weekly or monthly or whatever number of times people meet where people come in and sit down and they give addresses of problem spots. I want to see police officers walking the beat. I want to see them on a first name basis with business people and with neighbors. And I want to see community organizations play a greater role and assume more responsibility for public safety in the communities. I want to see more block club organizing. I want to see a lot more activity as part of a community policing program. And so that as a police officer identifies a family that is in need, for example, is experiencing hardship, then the police officer can report that and give that information to a human services agency that can then follow up and do the networking and the social and provide the social services that are needed. To me, that's what community policing is all about. Building relationships, not attending one meeting, but building relationships on a day-to-day basis, and building that partnership with the law enforcement community. And so I want to revamp the CAPS program, and I don't want to reduce its size. I want to increase its size so that we could really develop a true, strong community policing model in all our neighborhoods.
Like that answer a lot. Sonny does too. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Sonny Hirsch, who's behind the camera, is the chairman of the District Advisory Committee of the 24th District, and yes. I happen to be the beat rep for my police beat. And I very much like the idea that, yeah, you show up one time, it's very nice, but an ongoing relationship, with the mind toward the future. And we were talking before about different issues. You want to solve a problem. You don't want to just put a Band-Aid on the wound like I did here. You need to go to see the doctor and get a shot for the infection I got.
That's correct. Right.
Anyway, so you know what? We've got 5 more minutes. What else would you like to talk about?
Well, this is an exciting time in the city of Chicago. It's the first time in many, many decades that we have an election for mayor to fill an open seat. And so it's an election that in many respects is wide open. And it presents an historic opportunity for the entire city of Chicago, for every neighborhood in the city of Chicago to engage in a conversation about the future of the city of Chicago. And even though it feels like an abbreviated campaign season, because it seems like we just finished up with an election.
We did.
November 2nd. I think that after the holidays, I think more people are going to start paying close attention to this mayoral race. And I want to remind the viewers that voter registration closes January 25th. January 25th. That's right around the corner. And when you compare our numbers to the last mayoral election, we're down about 75,000 voters in the city of Chicago.
Wow.
And so there's a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done to make sure that people register, because what's going to happen is election day is going to come around, February 22nd, and people are going to then realize that they didn't change their address when they moved. The young person turned 18 and didn't register, or someone became a naturalized citizen and didn't register on the day that they were sworn in. Those kinds of things are going to happen. And so we want folks to keep in mind that January 25th is right around the corner. Now, there will be a late registration period after January 25th, but individuals will have to travel down to the Board of Elections downtown to register. They have to register in person, and they have to go down there. And of course, that will be difficult for some people to do, and we all know how expensive parking is downtown.
That's why I don't have a car.
And so whether you're parking or taking public transportation, which is what I would recommend people do,
yes.
It's still time consuming.
Very much so.
Going downtown. And so try to register before January 25th, and you can go to a public library or you can go to the county board, David Orr's website, and download the registration form and mail it in so you can be registered.
And early voting actually starts February 1st, which is also when your free copy of Jewish Chicago will be available. So, this is all happening in a big hurry.
It's happening really fast. And of course, we want voters to be well informed. We don't want this election to be decided by money. Money is important in campaigns, but we don't want this election to be decided by who spends the most money in this campaign. Big money comes from big interest, and big interests always have big expectations. And those expectations are usually tied to the interest of big interests. And so if we want to elect someone in the city of Chicago that is going to have a neighborhoods agenda, that is going to focus in on making community policing stronger, that is going to focus in on making neighborhood schools and converting neighborhood schools into anchors of a community that then can help with the overall stabilization of that community and help small businesses in that community thrive, and all these wonderful things that are needed to improve neighborhoods. If that's what you're looking for, that's not what big money is going to buy. Big money will buy individuals who are connected to big interests, and those are the interests that will be protected in City Hall. We need big business in the city of Chicago. I need big business in order to implement the kinds of things that I want to do. But we don't need big business to drive our agenda in the city of Chicago, our neighborhoods agenda, an agenda for balanced growth and balanced development. And so please pay careful attention to this election, because for the first time in a lifetime, you will have choices, good choices, but you need to be informed. You need to look at every candidate carefully and then make your decision based on information that you've been able to obtain and the analysis that you're going to do to make sure that you make the best possible choice.
Okay, that sounds absolutely terrific. I would like you to give people your contact information if they'd like to contact your campaign.
We're at 1325 West Grand in Chicago.
And you can find them on Facebook and...
Right, and you can go to delvalleformayor.com for our website. Please visit our website at Del Valle for Mayor. That's DELV as in Victor, ALLE, for Mayor, all one, .com. And there you will find lots of information about our campaign. We've got lots of policy statements on our website.
At this point, we're really running out of time, so I hate to cut you off, but it's been a pleasure to have you. I want to wish you a lot of luck. I hope people will check out your website, and we'll touch base with you later in the campaign. Thank you so much.